Today is May 27th, 2026. Over the last few days, it still got better, but there's still idiots running around. It's like, what the hell are you doing? See, the lure of fast money, and that they'll never get, the most they'll get is jail time. And they're setting these people up to be arrested, trying to take the limelight off themselves. And they're scamming all these people. Where May 25th, 25 in Hollister's teenage boys were laughing at this. Boy, did Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in there and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine that? Had another guy take a video of her washing in the shower and Photoshop that in the other room. And then ran a scam off of it. Who could steal her money? Scammed everybody into helping out. They're scamming all these people. Which led into May 26, 25. Walmart 62. Part of the cartel comes in. We heard they're laughing at Bill from the Freemasons' big scam of the dirty doctor not being one of hers. Worse for them than they had lied. The whole thing's a scam. And Summit Mall. To May 30th, 25. Louisville police being outside with the lady part of the extortion group said, I was going to trick her out of a bunch of money. Found out she knows surveillance laws. And I can't trick her out of money. I'm tricking Dixie and Melissa into putting their name on this. So they get arrested for trying to extort money out of this. They're trying to set all these people up to be arrested helping out in this. Okay? It's like, leave the dumb girls alone. And said the investigators found May 26, 25 of the cartel admitting this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemason, including the dirty doctor not being one of hers. Worse for them, and they had lied. The whole thing's a scam. Officer gets out of his car. The whole thing is a scam. She mentioned Bill from the Freemasons. The investigators found the original case. Her ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. And they were saying, one was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. No, it didn't. It made it worse illegal. Oh, ungodly illegal. Okay. See, that's weird. The whole thing's a scam. They even said it in 18 and 19. For everything's a lie and for everything's a scam. May 24th, 26. Walmart 62. We go to the kitchen aisle. Lady comes up behind me and threatens me. You don't have your husband in your life? We'll make sure that you have no one in your life. With what's going on, I thought, what, your scam? Okay. Alrighty. What's either that day or the next day? We go to Myers, North Main. There's a guy that looks like my son John. Resembles a little bit of him. With a girl white with black hair walk ahead of us. They have cameras. Round the fruit aisle, he puts his nose up in there. How'd they walk by her years ago? When they brought in the other John? Oh, 18, 19. Bring in the other John so we get away with this. And he walked right behind me. He's taller than my son John and like thicker, like more muscular. The girl white with black hair gets on the phone. How dumb were they bringing the pretend John in here to verify everything? They knew the whole thing was a scam. They paraded in front of the police and the feds since the beginning. All right. And then on the 25th, people saying in there, we listened to what she said, where people are showing up, insulting her clothes or hair. Did I ask your opinion? No. So why are you coming up and putting your opinion on my hair and my clothes when I didn't ask you and I don't know you? And where you guys all say, some guy liked her and wanted to date her when this was over. He wants to sell me. The word date means sell. It's a code word. Like they yelled out in the mall, Belden Village, not too long ago, this last month. They were mad I gained a little weight. Can't tell me that's all water weight. And I'd rather her go back to smoking. Well, the original cartel didn't want her to smoke. They wanted to sell her for body parts. That's not what I want to sell her for. No, it's they wanted to sell me. All right. You know, it sounds really bad. These people were tormenting me so bad I started smoking years ago. And because their evil plan and bullying me drove me into smoking. And smoking actually saved my life. Because then my lungs were not pliable for transfer. Where they said some doctor was having people watch people. They were going to relocate him to Florida, keep him in a room, run experiments on him. That he had never met me in person. It's like, I never want to meet that bastard. One time they told me it was outside the food court and wanted to actually meet me in person. Oh, hell no. Found somebody to talk to, got out through Macy's and ran like a little girl. No shame in it. Not me and that bastard. But they came up, she weighs so much, she has no bad habits, her likes are this, that. They were evaluating people of who they wanted to grab and sell. Okay. I was in Walmart 62 also, May 25th, 26. People were talking, that lady thought that she could steal everything from her. Found out they used a pretend John. And they found out that this whole thing's a scam, not to say a word to her. I go to leave, there's two Latina ladies out in the parking lot. We found out this whole thing is some ass thought he could steal from the government, the federal government in this country, as if he could scam them out of money. And that ass thought he could get a federal agent arrested, as if tell everybody not to say a word that to her at all. The whole thing was that ass. I know. Like they already break December 1st, 25. This whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. Everyone was. And that the doctor from before was not one of hers, worse for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete running his mouth in his office, he didn't even know, she doesn't even know who he is. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. She has no memory of those people. And the tape of Weird with Yourself is nothing but photoshopped of washing in the shower in the other room. And the whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. This was an attack on the FBI. This whole thing was. Where Strange hated the government. That the government's evil, it'll take your kids from you. The government's evil, they'll brainwash them. The government's evil, they'll come in your house, take your guns. and you have to bury him in pipes in the backyard. The government is evil. The evil government he hated. His son's mistress, Katie. Her family member, Michelle, my husband, is cheating behind my back with her. And they need someone to run a scam on. And the evil government that he hated had his people run a drug scam on, where she was in debt to drug dealers. Had those drug dealers run a scam on me. And then thought they could scare me into calling the FBI. Walk into an office, and the FBI is a bunch of dumb bumpkins and would fall for a drug scam. You know, I was telling my neighbor how they were in that office saying that they were trying to kill me because some idiot called me a faker 15 years before and told an agent that. He said, that's stupid. It's retarded. Like it's justified. See, this is where, after the case started, that agent was so mean to me on the phone. I didn't believe he was real. So when I heard Dave threaten Dixie and the baby's life and they had a list, I Googled the office, I found him. They yelled, he's got a list, I'm working on him. Well, I call him back a couple months later. You know what they told me? Miss Hall, we're so sorry. He's no longer with the government, or he's no longer with the FBI anymore. We're so sorry about everything. That's all they tell me. Then other agents showing up, taking care of everything. And I wonder if it's not him, where he told on me for calling the FBI. Told people he knew I was being drug beat and raped and didn't care before the case started. And on a recorded line admitted he had everyone in his office. And he knew they were trying to kill me and didn't blame them for trying to kill me because the strangers lied to cover up Tim and Katie when he thought I was following them in 03. Where he said he met with that family that lost their kid in the traffic accident, the one that I had nothing to do with. And Strange made up a lie on me 6 months later, had nothing to do with them. And they're in there saying that it offended them, that he called me a faker. Had nothing to do with them, like they said, March 27th, 25 to an FBI agent. They're all in there lying to him. They didn't even concern them. They were all in there lying to the FBI. Did the FBI know that? Yeah. Absolutely. You're trying to kill somebody 15 years later because somebody else called them a faker and you're saying that offended you? You sound like retards. And let's see, March 20th, 26th, Walmart was tasked by the electronics investigator call them out. They haven't found one bit of this funny since that family confessed to an FBI agent over a year ago that they were all lying to the FBI. And it never offended them. Of course they were lying. See, that's where that agent, I'm just wondering, the one that's no longer with FBI, if he's not the one with opposing attorney, that he got fired for the way he talked to me on the recorded line, feeding me back, taking my money. See, he should be sent in federal prison. If it's not an act, he should be in federal prison. 100%. September 10th, 25. Tuscarawas County Courthouse. There's people in the prosecutor's office. I want her to have nothing. I want her to have no one. I want her to hate her husband over this. You do realize that's abuse of authority, and retaliation against a witness and a victim is a federal crime. And then when I walked by office, we had the right to do it. No, you didn't. Then Judge Lori talking about some office was down here calling her case fraud and calling her a liar. What is the jail sentence for an FBI agent being in it with an opposing attorney trying to destroy an informant? It's 20 to life. Obstruction, tampering, aiding and abetting crimes. Severe abuse of authority. What is a jail sentence for an attorney trying to destroy an FBI informant? 20 to life. That's how much they couldn't be in that courthouse. That's how serious this is. Because if they get the case thrown out, because that agent told on me, and the way he talked to me on the recorded line, and where that idiot that lives in my old apartment in North Chapel in Louisville, where he said he was in the office when they met with that agent, and his group was part of this whole extortion group. And he was there, they were there when he was blowing me on the phone. Do you realize how satanic that is? Well, they recorded him. And they're sending it out to police departments. And they're telling everyone that agent took a payoff. And what was that, March 12th or 17th, down in the Bell store in Magnolia? They were saying people showed up and said that agent took a payoff before you even talked to her. That's why he did it. See, that's where, what is the jail sentence for an FBI agent if he tells an informant, if they say something, no one will help them? It is 20 to life. It can go into attempted murder, extortion, or not extortion, but tampering with a witness, tampering with evidence, and aiding and abetting crimes. It's blackmail. What is the jail sentence for an FBI agent that tells an informant if they say anything, they don't get their informant money? It is blackmail. Extortion out of government funds. Crime against the U.S. government. Because it's funds, stolen funds from a government. Tampering with a witness and obstruction to justice. What is a jail sentence for an agent telling on a victim? 20 to life. What is the jail sentence for an agent to bully a victim into false statements under threats of arrest? 20 to life. It's tampering with a witness. What is the jail sentence for an attorney if hired by a husband to stalk his wife in their private home with button cameras? It is disbarment immediately. 5 to 20 years. And part of the law says, under the color of the law. Under the color of the law. No one can take another person's rights away from them. Where they ran around, oh, Dave gave them permission so they could go in and stalk her, tape her unaware, drug her, beat her, rape her. He's not my pimp. See, that's where, what is the jail sentence? What is the jail sentence for an attorney if a husband hires them to set up button cameras in a home? In a home. Taping in bathrooms, photoshopping like washing in the shower in the other room, having men break in and drug them and tell them to say stuff for fake confessions and have them beat and raped under drugs. What is the jail sentence for that attorney? 20 to life. It says up to life in federal prison. And then all the charges for it. Disbarment immediately. No one can do this. They should have been slammed at that agent's desk, and where the hell is she? And she better still be alive. He would have found a drugged up rape victim passed out in her bed. It's that bad. See, that's where the absurdity of what happened, and where they run around telling everybody, we can extort money. We already took it from her. They're lying. They can never touch it, because that's where the law states. 14th Amendment. You cannot withhold protection from any U.S. citizen in any jurisdiction. No money, no assets can be seized, but due process of law. You have to be found guilty and sued for it. Can you just steal? No. Another part of the law is like the 7th or 8th Amendment. No money, no assets can be seized. What else? How did it put it? Only money or assets can be seized by an impartial jury, not a judge, per set documented injury, per set amount. You have to have a documented injury. You can't have mean games and pretend. You can't just roofie someone. You can't just con people out of money. 4th Amendment, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements in a court order. 1st Amendment, freedom of speech. Only a judge can, like a jury trial, can take your freedom of speech away. No judge could sign a ridiculous court order of taking somebody's freedom of speech away outside a jury trial, especially an informant. They can't take their freedom of speech away. They can't say no one can help them. If they say anything, what would be the jail sentence for the judge? The same as the agent. It's 20 to life. They are not beyond criminal prosecution and would be held accountable for those crimes. Where I was told by a criminal attorney, prosecutor's office, and police, no judge could sign them. Their set rules is for getting them information, risking your life, and only risking your life. They have said that agent took the money the first day. Grant's friend, that's an FBI agent out of state, he even said he had no authority. He's only a higher police officer. He can't tell anybody to stay quiet. It's illegal. It's a federal crime of 20 to life. And you get the money for risking your life only and getting them information. And the only way you can steal from an FBI case is he simply took the bank card with her name on it and simply put it in his pocket. And somebody in that office is helping him steal and signing that he witnessed, he handed it to him, and he simply just walked off with that card. And they probably together been stealing from all kinds of cases, and they got caught this time. See, the Department of Justice cannot allow FBI agents to tell on victims, victimize them, and say they don't care what people are being drugged, being raped, or going to be murdered or almost murdered by an occult, and bully people, open accounts, and then steal the money and feed the victim back to the perpetrators, and then rob the U.S. government of funds and the taxpayers. These are federal, horrible crimes. See, I was always told it was an act, and that they were trying to trick the people into giving up their drug connections. See, that's where idiot people the other day, Judge Peters signed the court order. Judge Peters is a human trafficker that got off this case that's in Florida in jail for human trafficking. A Starr County judge signed my court order. September 23rd, 2018 to October 5th, 2018. Witness Protection Program. Threat and attempt to life case for an FBI informant. It was signed by a Starr County judge. With money and immunity for life for working this case. Get the idea. And that Henry Maffei, he's the one, if that was Carl's son, Rick, outside our apartment yesterday, driving by, he's found us. and where Henry Moffey's been bragging that he's the one telling him he'll steal everything for him. And he's bragging how he's got a man watching me here. He's talking to me, his Dave's girlfriend's dad. And he's yelled threats. He's had to tell him where we live. I paid an agency several $1,000s to take us off Google and off all sites. So you can't find us. So Carl would be safe. And there's a good chance he found us. And the only way he'd find us is Henry Moffey told him. And see, that's where Jen told me that Rick was threatening to sue us for mental anguish. Oh. That he didn't get the farm. And he hasn't picked up his stuff yet, even though they've offered to give it to him, including in front of the Carroll County Sheriff, said he'd help haul everything off with him. He refused to take it. Danny has text messages offering him to come pick up his stuff, but he won't come pick it up. That is abandonment. Do you know, what is it, after 30 or 90 days, you leave something on somebody's property, you don't come back for it, they don't have to store it. It's considered abandoned. You can't, if I went over to my kid's house and I put something in the yard, it's like, what is this? Oh, I'll be back next week to get it. And I don't come back for a year and they had it hauled off. Do they have a right to? Yeah, I don't have a right to litter on their property. I talked to a lady that worked at the sheriff's office down there. She said it's considered vandalism on somebody else's property. Them leaving stuff. Oh, they vandalized that property horrible, and we have pictures. See, the hell that is going to come upon him, where he thinks he's going to sue for mental anguish because he didn't get the farm when he threatened to kill his dad. Bash his head in, and he was going to bash my head in, and he's supposed to slit my throat, and didn't know what they do with my body. Threaten Carl. And if Carl lived, he was going to throw him in a nursing home, found him incompetent, and walk off with everything. He beat a horse. He poisoned a cat. Trying to frame him. Even told his daughter if he had to frame him to steal that farm, he would. He was even trying to sell it out from underneath Carl, and it was never his. It wasn't even in a trust waiting for him for Carl to die. It was never his. He just, that Henry Moffey where he told him he'd steal everything for him, victimizing 80-year-olds. You can't do this. He cut his own throat. We'll put it that way. We had it set up so when Carl died, it would have been divided up into his family. And guess what? When you're an asshole and you threaten people's lives, you beat a horse and poison a cat and you try to frame somebody, you threaten to kill somebody to take stuff from them, and you're an asshole, you get nothing. You only get things by somebody's goodness and grace when they choose to leave it to you. You're never entitled. The spoiled brat syndrome of we have rights to do this to him. You don't have a right to victimize people. You don't have the right to terrorize people out of stuff. I got a letter from the VA, well, Carl did, from the VA from Washington, D.C., that they take it very seriously. People threatening older vets' lives and terrorizing them and sexually assaulting them. See, my anger and what is going to come upon these people, where they had said, well, she don't have any money to fight back. Yeah, I do. You're wrong and you miscalculated. You're wrong. And see, that's where the whole thing of it is. You're wrong. And what did the VA say? They'll go with Carl. Get a protective order. What else did they say they're going to do to Rick? Once they got that, he no longer has VA benefits. In the rules of the VA, you don't have a protective order against you. And for terrorizing another vet and threats of life, you don't have VA benefits. He's not smart enough to take his things and leave. He's not smart enough. and realize how big a mistake he made. Because he's entitled. And he has rights to kill and destroy, just like Henry Moffey. See, Brenda's kids, Carl found out where he thought his one daughter, Audrey, ran away at 15, 16. Brenda threw her out. And he didn't know. She lied to him. She was letting her kids, teenage kids, that Lester and Veronica, smoke pot and drink at 16. Who do you think was buying all that shit for him? Brenda. While Carl was out on a long-distance truck driving, and she threw his underage daughter out of their house while he was gone. And she told him she ran away. Carl's like, I didn't know any of this. How much she lied. She had that Deb beat on him, sexually assault him, 6 foot, 300-pound woman. And he's 5'3", 135. She had that Lester beat on him, and that Veronica. And that Lester, September 10th, 25, in Tuscarawas County Courthouse, admitted when he was mad at Carl before, he almost beat him to death. He tried to say he was only 15, and Carl's like, you liar, it was 10 years before. But he admitted he almost beat him to death. And he's mad at him. Said every time Brenda get mad, she'd have his kids surround him and beat him. Then have Deb sexually assault him like she did in the courthouse. On September 10th, 25, came up and sexually assaulted him, gave him thrush. Came up and started going, and he's like this, froze. I'm like, Carl, and she's all, and then, how did you like that? She gave him thrush. His whole mouth and throat swelled up. That is assault. And guess what's going, when he starts with us, the retaliation of what's going to happen, of what these people deserve and for what they've done to my husband, and the crimes they have committed. Assault charges on Deb with injuries. And where they took, and they laughed him in his face, they took enough money, they could have each bought a house, where he told them in 24, you've took all the big money, it's gone. You've already took all my money. Called him a liar. Said he was a millionaire. I'm like, he's no millionaire. He had ragged shoes. I had to buy him shoes. I had to buy him clothes. I have to buy him healthy food. He's no millionaire. And, oh, you just don't realize it. They thought he was a millionaire and they could keep robbing him. And they already took what money he had. They beat him and sexually assaulted it out of him. Bullied it out of him. I have about 60 grand in cash checks they never pay back, and they don't take cash. Things that were the imaginary payments you gave in courts. We will go for each and every check. And when the VA gets done with Rick, not only will he not have VA benefits, but they're going after his job. And he won't have a secure job again for terrorizing people into giving up their home and everything they own and run for their lives. And stalking and harassment. I thought who Carl was seeing was a psychiatrist there to help him learn to calm down. No, it's a social worker. A social worker. And they're going to go with us. Because the law is set up to protect victims, and predators are to be prosecuted. And so they're going to get me and him, because emotionally it hurt them that he sold his own farm. They were never entitled to it. It was never theirs. They had no rights to it. Carl said, do you realize if you weren't in my life, they probably would have already killed me? I said, I realize that. Now, FBI, I would like my money that is owed to me for working the case if it wasn't for Karen around the house Karen's will. Threat and attempt a life case that led into all the big drug cartel arrests. Get that thrown out. Thousands of human traffickers will be released. This is very serious. And April 10th, 26th, in the VA on Y Street, Carl and I go in to bring in more proof of what Rick and was doing to him. There's an older white guy with an older African American guy. He's acting like he's Agent John. How he's teaching her a lesson for faking she was sick when it was medical malpractice medication errors. That's strange as lie. And he's passing out the case's money. He's not passing out the case's money. And he would even tell the DOJ he was doing it. People showed up in Millersburg the next day and said, that better not be Agent John. But I'll tell you what, it's a win-win situation. We either have his confession, he's stealing from the government and just throwing it out, or we got somebody impersonating him. See, then you got to think how not funny this is. Them going to my community health, talking to my doctor there, which does need arrested, admitted he's stalking me. And then talking to someone where April 9th, 26, he was rude to me. He's normally rude. They have turned him against him. He has no right being a doctor. And he walks up and he said, I got a phone call to make. I know you think it, I know you like watching her. I think it's funny that she thought it was drug dealers coming at her and it was us. And the nurse before that, oh my Lord, her saying drug dealers hurt her. The FBI was here making fun of her. And when they picked up her records, that they're all running around laughing, making fun of her. What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent to make fun of a victim? 5 to 7 years to more. They couldn't, and it's not the FBI. They were there in 18. Like they said, who the hell did those idiots give her medical records to? And what do they mean? Altman Hospital doctors are part of having people drug beaten, raped in their homes with drug dealers. She really did have drug dealers coming at her. Then May 8th, 26. That doctor was a little bit nicer. Now I want you to think how much he doesn't care about his job. I had sinus infection starting to go into my ears and in my glands. My muscle in my neck's real tight because it was in my glands, and all my glands under here were swelled up from being infected. Okay? Like they said, it's a bacterial infection in your head, But I'd ask him to go to pain management because my muscle in my neck hurt so bad. Well, it got bad enough. I went to Minute Clinic and they said it's an infection. Did he know as a doctor that it was an infection? Yeah, he was going to let me go to pain management, though, because he didn't give a damn. Well, he walks, after he gets done, now my phone is tapped by the police and the FBI. He walks out and goes into a staff-only room. I think it's funny she thinks I ought to show her respect when I talk to her. He should show respect to all his patients. And the guy in there said, I told you after she was faking she was sick. Well, that family's grieving. I want to steal all the money for John and Melissa. Why would you steal money for John and Melissa? Melissa is documenting me games to pretend nobody ever got hurt because they wanted Auntie Shaw and Papa to get the house. And John verified for the FBI in 18, nothing bad ever happened to him. So did Dr. Haben, his pediatrician that's seen him 3 or 4 times a year for 18 years. There was no sign of abuse, no sign of neglect, and they were very well taken care of. MD doctor proof that nobody ever got harmed. So, July 26, 25, an agent from 18 came in and said that. They already documented it. And these people right in front of them, what did they do? Bring in the other John so we can pull this off and walk them right in front of the police and FBI. Like they said, they knew the whole thing was a scam. Okay? And, he said, and when she was faking she was sick, but that family's screaming, I'm stealing everything for them. And if she tries to have liposuction, I already got it worked out with that other doctor, and he said his name, and to make it look like an accident and fat embolism so she dies. Conspiracy to commit murder. Oh, I went out to that doctor's office, went over a big bunch of stuff like I've been going through it. And I said, they're threatening around me that if I try to have lipo, you make sure that it looks like an accident with a fat embolism and da-da-da. And she said, doctors go to jail for that kind of mistakes. would never happen here. Well, what's not funny is a year ago, some idiot was out there saying, oh, John verified it for, well, the pretend John. They walked in front of the FBI. Like the girl said in Myers. How dumb were they bringing the pretend John in here that they used to verify everything? They knew the whole thing was a scam. Okay? They're out there scamming that nice doctor. And I don't want anything bad to happen to him. Maybe a stern warning. He's got an extremely handicapped daughter and other children. But he made a big mistake talking to him because by federal law, they come in and they want to talk about me and I'm their patient. They're to throw him out. Call the police, find out who they are, and get them for stalking me. He's not to feed into scams on me. And, well, when I was out there in May, I had to move money from a savings account into my checking. And it took me a minute to log in. I could hear a lady in there talking again. I didn't know John verified for the FBI and nothing bad happened to him years ago. We're all going to go in and try to extort money out of this. Do you want your name on it? No, I don't want any money out of this. They're trying to get that nice doctor arrested. I made a big mistake talking to him. See, they're the kind of people that would get him making a mistake and try to extort money out of him. Like I said, he probably needs a stern warning, but that's about it. But my community health doctor, he can get Altman Hospital shut down and that office. And he does need arrested. Because if he's not working with the police and the FBI to get these people to confess their crimes, he's an accessory. And where he even said on May 8th, he said, I help watch her. I think it's funny. She thinks I need to show respect. What are you doing stalking me? I didn't sign consent for you to watch me, freak. Get the idea? And Dave could never hire an attorney to watch me. Where did people think? See, like investigators said, that a cult thought as a woman she had no rights. I have just as many rights as everybody else. And this whole thing was a scam. They thought they could scare me into calling the FBI. They'd walk in with their scam and scam the FBI out of money like they're a bunch of dumb pumpkins. They would open up a case, bully me, threaten me so I'd be afraid of them, then make up ridiculous rules they could never put in a case. And the agent walk off with my money or give it to them. It don't work that way. See where that lady said they got a list of people putting their name on it, trying to get money out of me? Everybody on that list, you better tell them you're not interested. Where she said she was setting up Dixie and Melissa to put their name on it, trying to get money so they go to jail. The attempt of extortion out of a government case, the attempt, 20 years. The attempt out of extortion out of an FBI informant is 20. See, I do these videos where people were falling for this hook, line, and sinker by the multitude. You know, at the Oakland apartment where they told him December 9, 21, 4 p.m. that all the tapes stood for were them and not me. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes here to see if someone will stop them. Okay? He told me later on he thought the COVID virus damaged people's brains in this area. They're finding things funny that aren't. And they should be angry at it. It's like it's created a great mental illness. People running around acting like damn fools. The thought of free money, like a Robin Hood, robbing the rich government and just throwing it out to the peasants. And the only thing you're going to get is life in federal. They're tricking you to put your name on it. common sense. And I upload this to Facebook. I upload it to YouTube, trying to realize this whole thing is a scam from the drug cartel. And that's all it is. But the seriousness of it, they were in that courthouse. Supposed to be an FBI agent with an opposing attorney calling a case fraud, where they said they were going after the case to get it thrown out. And they want the drug cartel dealers and every drug dealer or anybody arrested connected to the evidence that was arrested off my case released. Then they're going to sue for false arrest under fraud. See, the whole thing of it is, if this does not stop as it is going, thousands of human traffickers that got arrested off this case will be released. I have wrote the president, I have wrote the Department of Justice, the OPR, I have wrote FBI Internal Affairs, I rewrote the White House again. Of somebody, my God, please help. And stop what is happening before they get the surveillance. Like they said, he was defrauding her the whole time. They started in 19, they were looking for legal loopholes. That agent told on her before he talked to her. He doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. It's illegal. It's a federal crime. Can't be in a court order. He admitted on a recorded line that he met with all those people and he knew they were harming her. He bullies her, makes her beg for her life, lets her inform, and then threatens her. Then he left her there and he took her money. He was defrauding her the whole time. He had no legal right around her. See, that's where these people had no legal right around me. And you can't use fraud. See, I just need someone in the FBI to say her case is valid. Where investigators said Karen never lied to us one time. She called and she reported threats and attempts on her life. These people walked into an FBI office and said it was them and they were trying to kill her. Everything else she said did happen, and it happened under police surveillance with a court order. And like they said, she was part of a really, really big bust. Judge Peters out of Florida, his people were here in 18 and 19. Faith Family Church, over 3,000 people seen him than other places. That's how the FBI found out about him. Down in Florida, he was arrested in 22 with 100 people. They had to get it set up and get him caught. The Kingsmen for Texas, some of them went to jail. California, Buffalo, New York, Michigan, and others that came down here to help pull off this big scam of robbing the FBI. His attack against our federal government. And what is not funny, like a nurse showed up a few weeks ago. Do you realize that doctor probably gave her medical records to the drug cartel? Well, who else did they give it to? I mean, who others medical records? See, that's where I worked in loan companies and bank. You walk in with an FBI badge and a court order to want somebody's checking account information. I look at you like a scammer. I'd be getting a hold of the branch manager, the regional director. They'd want a copy of your badge and the court order, and when they verify it, they'll get back to you. And until they verify everything, nobody says a word. Because you're scammers. Bruce Lewinsky, chief of police up there, did news. It was on the news that there's imposters up there. They're pretending to be him, other people, and federal agents with fake court orders and fake arrest warrants, trying to scam people out of money. You know, I seen the most ridiculous and the most horrible thing on Google of this older couple had been married 50, 60 years. This pretend Tom Selleck, an imposter, was scamming this little old lady out of money, and she wouldn't listen to her husband. So what should he have done? Go out and open another checking account and move all their money into something just his, right? Do you know what the idiot did? He killed her. And he killed his own wife over money, and then killed himself. The love of money, he killed his own wife and himself because she was giving it to an imposter. So, and instead of calling 911 and having a cop come out and explain it to her, or opening a different account and moving all the money into his own name, the bastard killed his wife over money and then himself. See, the love of money, what people will do to each other. And see, you got to think about where September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, a biker got it out of Dave's old girlfriend. This whole thing was her debt to drug dealers. And that I don't know who she is, and I've never met her, and she had my skull bashed in, raped and tortured because she was in debt to drug dealers. It was her family inciting Carl's family to threaten his life because she wanted the farm. And they knew that Agent's life was getting threatened because the Ohio drug dealers were mad all those people got human trafficked, and her family even human trafficked people to pay back those drug dealers. And they knew the original cartel already admitted they photoshopped everything, and that it was medication errors, medical malpractice, and fraud that made me sick before. My car is bugged by the police and the FBI. They were talking about it clear down on October 11th, 25 in KFC in New Philly. That she admitted to human trafficking people, and they all knew it was a scam to pay off those drug dealers. And that family's dead. Where at Apostolic Church of Barberton, Pam and Anita were talking before the case started. Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone just for the opportunity to date someone like Dave. Dave was excited. He never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. That poor family that is in debt. Where Katie has bragged that everybody's stealing for her. Mary's her mom, and Michelle, and that Henry Maupey is what, her cousin or dad. If you take January 1926, Henry Maupey coming in, where the first month or two of the case, I got a weird text message through Instagram. I think you're beautiful. It's like, thanks. Something about loving a beach. I don't know him from Adam. People, when I go out to stores, people are talking about him, and where people are showing up saying they work for Judge Peters and they're drug traders and human traffickers from Florida, and he's riding around with them. I don't know him. Then people saying how he left insults on me. I don't even know him. He comes in, and in front of the police, the officers that work her case only watch her because they feel sorry for her. Her dancing around the car like a little kid with her husband. He said, I'm the one that sent her the messages online. I thought you look like him, but thinner. He said, with those messages, I proved she was cheating. That's not cheating. That's you being a weirdo. He said, I tell all men she's not good enough for another man. He said, he said, I'm not glad I never met her in person. That buddy, you wouldn't have got a pity date. He said, I'm the one that tells her new husband's family that I'll steal everything for them. What that girl say was her family. And I found out his son was vandalizing stuff on the farm. He said, I told him stay out of it. I'll steal everything for them. He said, I got a judge's friend that'll enter all my tapes in court without the FBI or her. Well, that's illegal and it could never happen. He said, and assign all the cases money over to me while the FBI is busy with Minnesota, and I'll be long gone and steal all the cases money for myself. Not over my dead body. Investigators showed up laughing. Laughing. Told you she didn't know what's going on. He admitted he never met her in person. Did you hear what she called him? Oh, I called him ugly as a horse's ass. He's got the small dick syndrome. Hurting women that he's never met to prove his manhood. Real men don't hurt women. Someone had mentioned out in Myers and Alliance that he was the one pretending to be the dirty doctor from before breaking HIPAA. And none of this is funny. He admitted he never met her in person. The whole thing's just a scam. But what isn't funny is when they're showing up at my doctor's trying to corrupt him. What isn't funny is when they showed up in a courthouse and it's supposed to be an agent with an opposing attorney trying to get the case thrown out under fraud. This is way above my level. I have wrote everybody of, dear God, please somebody intervene. Thousands of human traffickers could be released back into society on a technicality. All the FBI has to do is say her case is legit. We're sorry for our employee's actions. Or it was a con to trick them so we can get it. We're sorry she got hurt. Here's her money. And everybody stays in jail. And the big con of stealing my money is over. I would like a new name and social for me and Carl so we can live out our life in peace. Letter of thank you would be nice. And a medical card for all the injuries that I occurred helping the FBI. If it wasn't for my case, they wouldn't have had a way into the cartel. And they got a lot of them. I'm going to upload this.